Prepare for a cunning challenge. In The Fox and the Clever Crow, a tricky fox has his eyes and his tummy on a proud crow's delicious cheese. Will his sweet words be enough to get the tasty treat?
One bright morning, a clever fox with a bushy, white-tipped tail was following his sharp nose through the cheerful wood. He was quite hungry and hoped to find a tasty breakfast. The sun dappled through the leaves, making the forest pathways shine. He trotted eagerly along, his bright yellow eyes scanning for anything delicious. The fresh morning air was filled with many interesting scents, guiding him on his way. He imagined all the wonderful things he might discover hidden amongst the trees. Suddenly, high above him, the fox spotted something wonderful perched on a strong tree branch. It was a magnificent, glossy black crow, her feathers shimmering in the sunlight. But what truly caught his keen eye was the plump yellow piece of cheese held firmly in her strong beak. His stomach rumbled with excitement at the sight. This was a much better find than any berries or tiny critters. His search for breakfast was immediately over. He knew exactly what he wanted. This was no ordinary crow for the fox. This crow held a delightful, cheesy treasure. A mischievous twinkle lit up his bright yellow eyes. "No need to search any farther," thought sly Master Fox to himself with a happy grin. He knew just what to do to get that delicious prize. This cheese would be the most perfect, dainty bite for his morning meal. He quickly began to hatch a clever plan in his quick-thinking mind. With his clever plan firmly in mind, the fox trotted lightly to the foot of the tall tree where the crow was perched. He moved with a graceful, almost playful, bounce in his step. The fox hoped to appear as friendly and charming as possible. He wanted the crow to feel safe and happy, not suspicious. His bushy tail swayed gently as he approached, ready to begin his persuasive act. Looking up at the crow with a grand, admiring smile, the fox cried out in his sweetest voice, "Good morning, beautiful creature." His voice was soft and full of the warmest praise. He made sure to gaze at her with the most sincere-looking admiration. The fox hoped his charming greeting would be quite irresistible. He patiently waited for her to respond to his kind words. The crow, although surprised by such a direct greeting, was also quite suspicious. She tilted her head slightly, her intelligent dark eyes narrowing with caution. She had heard of the fox's tricks before, and was not easily fooled. With great care, she kept her strong beak tightly closed, securing the delicious cheese firmly inside. She did not return his greeting, choosing instead to observe him silently from her safe perch. The fox, noticing her silence, continued his flattery with even more enthusiasm. "What a truly charming creature she is!" he exclaimed again, pretending to marvel at her beauty. "How her magnificent feathers shine in this glorious sunlight! What a beautiful form and what splendid, powerful wings you possess!" He hoped his words were painting a picture of unparalleled elegance. He tried to sound as genuinely impressed as possible. Then the fox added the most tempting compliment of all. "Such a truly wonderful bird should certainly have a very lovely voice," he said, his voice dripping with admiration. "Indeed, everything else about her is so utterly perfect." He paused, letting his words sink in. "If only she could sing just one glorious song, I know I would instantly hail her the magnificent queen of all birds." Listening to these wonderfully flattering words, the crow felt a warm, happy flutter in her chest. All her earlier suspicion faded away like a morning mist. The thought of being proclaimed the magnificent queen of birds was completely irresistible. She pictured herself wearing a crown, adored by all her feathered friends. Forgetting both her good sense and her delicious breakfast, her heart swelled with pride and joy. Overjoyed and eager to show off her supposed vocal talents, the crow opened her beak wide. She intended to utter her loudest, most beautiful caw for her admirer. But as soon as her beak parted, disaster struck. The tempting piece of cheese, no longer held tight, slipped from her grasp. Down, down, down it tumbled, directly towards the waiting ground below her perch. She watched in sudden horror as her delicious prize fell. The tasty cheese dropped swiftly through the green leaves. It fell straight down, gleaming yellow against the dark tree trunk. The quicker-than-a-blink fox was perfectly ready below. In one swift, cheerful movement, he caught the delicious cheese right in his open mouth. He snapped his jaws shut with a triumphant grin. His clever plan had worked exactly as he had hoped it would. "Thank you." "Dear Crow," said Master Fox sweetly, his mouth full of the delicious cheese. He savored every single bite, enjoying both the taste and his success. The poor crow looked down. Her dream of being queen of birds shattered. Her breakfast gone. She watched him, utterly speechless and very, very sad. The fox gave her a sly, knowing glance before he spoke again. "Though your voice is indeed quite cracked, you do have one, sure enough," the fox remarked with a cheeky grin. He then shared a final piece of advice, his tone becoming a little more serious. "But where, dear Crow, were your wits when I was praising you so?" With those words, Master Fox gave a little wave of his bushy tail and began to walk off into the sunny forest, leaving the crow to ponder his words. This old story teaches us a valuable lesson. Dear friends, we should always be careful when strangers offer us too many sweet words and compliments. True friends do not need to flatter us to gain our trust or our possessions. It is always wise to stop and think before we act, especially when praise makes us feel very important. Remember, what seems too good to be true often is.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.